Thank you very much to again welcome you to Mason African Motives. We are on Business Studies Grade 10, Term 1 Notes, Chapter 5. Term 1 Notes, Chapter 5. So we are going to be on business sectors. The notes is on business sectors. So let us go straight to the meaning of primary, secondary, and tertiary, as these are our business sectors. So let's quickly go on the meaning of those three sectors. So here we are on the meaning of a primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. As it says, the meaning of primary sector. It says the primary sector is the first stage in the production process, meaning to say this is where the production begins because natural resources are collected. First, we are saying this is where production begins. This is where production begins. Because natural resources are collected first. Because natural uh, resources are collected first. For example, we can talk about growing a wheat is the first step before making a bread. So, hope we are together. It further on says this sector deals with the extraction of raw materials from nature. From nature. So, it means it takes natural resources directly from the earth. It takes natural resources directly the from earth. It takes natural resources directly from the earth, directly from the earth, directly from the earth. So, for example, you can talk of mining coal from the ground. So that is why we are saying this sector deals with the extraction from raw materials from nature. Hope we get it. So this again further on says this the primary sector is involved in collecting resources direct from nature. So it involves collecting resources directly from nature. So it means workers gather materials that come straight from natural resources. So it means that workers, workers gather materials that come straight from natural resources, from natural resources, natural resources. So that is that. So, for example, taking fish from the sea, taking fish from sea. So it means that they are getting that materials that come straight from natural resources. So when you catch the fish from the sea, it means those fishes come straight from what? From our natural resources. So that is that. The sea becomes what? Our natural uh, resource. So that is that. So let us move on to another point. It says these raw materials are then supplied to other business for further processing. So these raw materials are supplied to other business for processing. Meaning to say, we are saying the the materials collected are sold for factories to make what? To make a finished uh, to make a finished goods. For example, you can say cotton farms goes to textile factories to make clothes. Hope we are together on that. So these are our examples of primary sector. These are our examples of primary sector. We know that this farming, which produces agricultural products such as cattle and wheat. So farming produces crops and animals. So that is that. We have forestry, which supplies wood for building furniture. So forestry harvests trees for wood. So that is that. For example, cutting timber, fishing from the sea, lakes and rivers. So fishing collects fish from oceans and rivers. So example, deep sea fishing. Mining, which extracts minerals such as coal and gold from the earth. So that is mining, whereby it removes minerals from the earth. Packaging of the above raw materials. So the packs collected natural goods. So example, you can talk of books in vegetables. So that is that. So now we come to secondary sector. So with secondary sector, where you are coming to the meaning of secondary sector. As it says, the secondary sector is responsible for confecting, processing, manufacturing of materials into final products. So it means factories change natural minerals into usable goods. That's what it means. That factories change natural materials. Factories change natural materials into usable goods. Into usable goods. That is that. So, for example, turning milk into cheese. So, that is that. That factories change natural materials. You change the milk into cheese. You change that milk as a natural into usable good, which is cheese. So that is that. It is a link between primary sector where raw materials are extracted from nature. So we are saying, meaning we are saying it takes the primary sector, collects and transforms it. We are saying it takes what the primary sector takes what the primary sector what the primary sector collects takes what the primary sector collect and transforms it and transforms it and transform and transforms it and transforms it. So that is that. For example, a sawmill turns logs into planks. So that is that. So now let us move on to another point. As it says, deals with distribution, transportation, and retailing services to other business. So it deals with distribution, transportation, retailing services to businesses. So it says it includes um, businesses that help move and deliver products. For example, a delivery truck that is transporting goods to supermarket. Also, it says it includes the manufacturing factories, construction, and energy generation. So, meaning to say, this sector builds things and produces power. For example, a factory producing furniture. So, that is that. So here are the examples of a secondary sector. We have motor industry. We know that motor industry makes cars, making cars. We have furniture industry making tables and chairs. We have textile industry, where we know that they are making fabrics and clothing. So that is that. Let's move on. So now we are moving on to tertiary sector. Tertiary sector. So tertiary sector, as it says, this sector distributes goods processed in the secondary sector to consumers. Meaning to say it delivers factory-made products to the public. It delivers. It delivers factory-made products, factory-made products to the public. To the public. So that is that. For example, supermarkets selling packed foods. That is that. The tertiary sector aims to bring products and services within reach of the consumer. So it makes goods and services easy for people to access. So it makes goods and services, goods and services easy, easy for people to access. Easy for people to access. So that is that. For example, take services helping people travel. For example, yeah, that is that. Now we are coming to another point. Where it says this industry, the industry that offers services to customers and other businesses. Provide services to consumers and other business. So meaning to say, oh sorry, the tertiary activities include all activities that distribute products from the secondary sector. So it means that it moves finished goods to where consumers can buy them. So for example, courier companies delivering online orders. And then the industry that offers it to consumers and other businesses. So with this one, it means that it offers non-physical products like beauty or healthcare. So that is that. When you're saying provides, it provides services, as it says, it includes by other, the industry offers service to consumers and other business. So it simply says it offers non-physical products like banking or healthcare. So here are the examples of tertiary sector. Examples of tertiary sector. We have food industry. We can talk of restaurant. We have cloth industry. We can talk of retail clothing store. We have banking or insurance. We have tourism and transportation, entertainment, retail, as well as legal services. We talk of cinemas. We have examples that they're given here: shops, transport companies, electrician, doctors, and consultants, hotels as an examples of tertiary sector. So now let us move on to the relationship now between the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. So it says The primary sector depends on the secondary sector for manufactured goods such as machinery, equipment, and fertilizers. For example, a farmer may require seeds from another farm. So what it means is that farmers and miners need machines made in factories. Farmers and miners, we can say that farmers and miners need machines made in factories, made in factories, made in factories. For example, a farmer needs a tractor from a factory. That is that. Now we are moving on. The primary sector is dependent on tertiary sector for its customers' needs. Primary sector depends on the tertiary sector for customers. Meaning to say it needs shops and markets to sell raw products. So it needs shops, it needs shops and markets to sell raw products. To sell raw, to sell raw products. So that is that. So what it means is that, for example, farmers sell vegetables in supermarket. That is where we are saying the primary sector is dependent on the tertiary sector. So now let us move on to another point. The secondary sector processes the raw materials obtained from the primary sector into useful products. So secondary sector processes raw materials from the primary sector. So it means that uh, so meaning to say, when we are saying the secondary sector processes the raw materials obtained from the primary sector into more useful products, what it means is that factories use natural resources to make products. It means that factories use natural resources, natural resources to make products. To make products. For example, mills turn wheat into flour. It tells it turns milks. It turns milk into flour. So this again says the secondary sector depends on primary sector for raw materials and products. So we are saying the secondary sector depends on primary sector for raw materials. It simply says it needs natural input to manufacture goods. It needs natural inputs to manufacture goods. To manufacture goods. So that is that. For example, furniture factories need timber for it to make what? A furniture. For it to make what? A furniture. They need what? Timber. That is why we are saying the secondary sector depends on the primary sector for raw materials. So let us move on. They say the secondary sector depends on the other secondary industries. For example, BM needs tire from Dunlop, another secondary sector player. Hope you understand it. Hope you get it. Uh, as we are saying, secondary sector depends on other secondary industry. It means factories needs parts from other factories. That's what it means. It means that factories needs other parts from other factories. It means other parts from other factories. Factories needs parts from other factories. Sorry, let me write it in an understandable way. Factories needs parts from other factories. So that is that. So that is that. A car manufacturer needs tires from the tire factories. That is where we are saying the secondary sector depends on other secondary industries. It further on says secondary sector needs the tertiary sector to sell their processed or manufactured goods, and also for services such as banks, insurance, transport, as well as communication. So we are saying the secondary needs tertiary sector to sell goods and provide services. So it relies on banks, transport, and shops. That is that. As you know, that factories use drug companies to deliver goods. So that is that. The tertiary sector depends on the primary sector for raw materials that do not need processing by secondary sector. So we are saying tertiary sector depends on primary sector for unprocessed goods. Some goods come straight from nature. So we are saying some goods come straight from nature. From nature. For example, fresh fruit sold at markets. You see, they do not need what a secondary sector to process them. So that is that. So now we come to tertiary sector. The tertiary sector depends on the secondary sector for manufactured goods, such as office machines, office furniture, stationery, and etc. So what we are saying is that um, we are saying tertiary sector depends on secondaries. Tertiary sector depends on secondary sector for manufactured goods. It means that shoes need packed and finished goods. Shops need packed and finished goods. So that is that. So let us move on. Let us move on to the relationship link between primary, secondary, as well as tertiary sector. As you can see that we have forest. So, you know, forest, we are going to have timber, trees, and then we have paper mill. Timber now is turned into paper, you see? So forest as a primary sector now is now turned into a paper in the secondary sector. And then label printers, labels that will pasted onto corned beef cans, so that is tertiary. So that is that. So let us move on. So now we move on to formal and informal sector. Formal and informal sector, then you're going to start with the meaning of the formal sector. As it says, the formal sector refers to the business that are registered and they do what? They pay tax. So the government legally recognizes the businesses. Here we are saying the government legally recognizes the business. Recognizes this business. Legally recognizes this business. So that is that. So these are registered business. These are business that do not operate underground. They are known to authorities because they pay tax. For example, Pick and Pay supermarkets, they are known to authorities. They pay tax. So that is that. The formal sector within the mainstream of the economy. So they are part of the main economy. They are included in an official economic statistics. They are included. They are included in official economic activities. Economic statistics, sorry. Statistics. Statistics. So, for example, registered retail stores, that is that. This sector includes small, medium, as well as large business. So include small, medium, and large. It means any size business can be formal registered. Any business can be formal registered. Can be formal registered. Whether it is a small, it is a medium, it can be registered. For example, a hair salon can be formal registered. That is what we are saying. Either is a small, medium, or large business. Employees are protected in many ways, such as unemployment funds, disability, injured on duty of industry. So workers get UIF, injury cover, legal protection. So that is that. So it means that factory workers receiving UIF, that's what it means. They are controlled by laws, regulations of the government. So it means we are talking about controlled by government laws, must follow rules such as minimum wage. Here we are saying must follow rules such as minimum, such as minimum, such as minimum wage, such as minimum wage. For example, restaurants following health regulations. That is that. Keeping accounting records and audit their books. So they must track finances properly. Must track finances properly. So that is that. So it means companies must prepare audited financial statements. It is a capital intensive as it involves using machinery and equipment. So it needs more machine to operate. It needs more money to operate. That is that. They operate under an acknowledged form of ownership, such as partnership, close corporation companies, and sole proprietors. So it means they operate under formal ownership. They have a legal ownership form. So, for example, a registered proprietary limited company. So now let us go to the importance now of formal sector. The importance of formal sector. Importance of formal sector. They are saying they supply legal products. That is true. Because they are known to authorities. They are known. They are registered business. They supply products that are legal, not illegal. Products supplied by the formal sectors are guaranteed, which means that faulty goods can be returned. So those which are found with errors, those which are faulty, they can be returned. They employ many people with different skills and qualifications. That is that. So now let us come to the meaning of informal sector. Meaning of informal sector. He said informal sector refers to business that are not registered and does not what? Pay tax. So these are those business that are that are operate underground. These ones, they run their business underground because they are not known to authorities. They are unrecorded sector because they are not known to the authorities. So they operate without government approval. They operate without government approval. Without government approval. So that is that. So, for example, street vendors. So they don't pay tax. They are known to the authorities. So they operate without the government approval. This sector includes activities by people who are unable to find jobs. So it includes people who cannot find formal jobs. So provides income for unemployed people. So that is that. Those people, they should repair on the street, you see, fall outside the mainstream of the economy, unlike the formal sector, which falls inside the mainstream of the economy. The informal falls outside. It falls outside. Not included in official statistics, not included um, in official statistics. In official statistics. Statistics. So that is that. For example, we can talk of sponsorships. You see, it is a labor intensive as it does not require a huge capital outlay for the establishment. Labor intensive. So it means it uses more human effort than machines. Uses more human effort than machines. Than machines. So that is that. Example, we can talk about hand car washing business, you see. Employees are not protected and they can be exploited. So employees are not protected. Workers have no contracts. Workers do not have contracts or UIF. So, for example, informal hairdressers. So that is that. Not monitored by government. So no inspections or regulations. No inspections or regulations. No inspections or regulations. Not added into gross domestic product GDP figures. So their income is not formally recorded. Examples of business include street vendors, parcel shops, hairdressers, flea markets, daycare for children, general handyman services. So that is that. So now we come to the importance now of informal sector. The importance of informal sector. They provide jobs, income to communities, thereby elevate poverty. So they elevate poverty because these are people who cannot find formal jobs. So they provide income. They want to put the bread on the table for their families. So that is why now they have to start that small businesses. People working in the informal sector gain experience to be used for formal sector. So with that experience that they are gaining while at least they are in informal sector a wealth that is going to benefit the formal sector. So there is experience that they gain there. Encourages entrepreneurship and self-employment. So people, they start their own small business. So that encourages what? Entrepreneurship. Provides opportunity for marginalized and disadvantaged people by encouraging street trade. Serves as a buffer between employment and unemployment. So that's that. So let us move on to difference between formal and informal sector. Difference between formal and informal sector. So the difference between formal sector as well as informal sector. industries in this sector are legally registered. Like we have said that they are known to the authorities. They pay tax, so they are legally registered. But with informal sector, the sector is not legally registered. Those people, those street vendors, they are not known to authorities. They don't pay tax. So they are illegally running their business. Fall between mainstream of the economy. Like we have said that these ones, they fall um, in the mainstream of what? Of the economy. While the informal sector fall outside the mainstream of economy, also known as the second or marginalized economy. It is registered and pays tax. The formal sectors pay tax, and this informal, they don't pay tax. And they are not registered. Made up of small, medium, and large business. We have said it that whether the business is small and medium and large, they are as well pay tax, and they are regarded as formal sector. Like we have said, any size of business formal, can be formal if registered. So whether they are small, they are medium, but if they are registered, they are formal. They are regarded as formal sector. Even if it's a small hair salon or you are just a shoe repairing business, once it is registered, it falls under formal sector. But with this informal sector, that is a small scale operations, employees are protected as they receive unemployment funds, disability funds, or when they are injured at workplace. But with the informal sector, employees are not protected and can be exploited. So these ones, they are not protected because they are not registered. So if you get injured there, it's up to you. You are not known. So again, they are controlled by the laws and regulations of the government. We have said it. While this one, they are not tracked by any form of government. Higher capital is required in this sector, but with this one for running a business, it's very cheap because you can see those are people who are selling sweets there on the street. So to start such a business, it doesn't require a lot of money. Output can be measured into countries, gross domestic product. But with this one, uh, estimates should be made to measure contribution into countries' GDP. Usually more labor intensive. Usually more labor intensive. Usually more skill intensive. So that is that. Usually includes manufacturing, banking, insurance, and large retail shops. Usually include street vendors, parcel shops, and hairdressers, and other home-based activities. So employees have steady income, but with this one, employees' income is inconsistent when you are under informal sector. Not easy to enter this sector as business had to be legally registered. So these ones you need to be registered. So it's not easy because you don't just start a business. You need to go under registration, of which it takes time and needs money as well. Easy to enter sector as there are no legal formalities needed under informal sector. Higher capital is required. Here we have said lower capital is required. I think we have already talked about those differences. So now let's come to the public and private sector. Public and private sector. So this is where we are to be. It says the meaning of the public sector. Public sector is a state-owned or state-run of parastatals. So meaning to say the government controls the organization. It means the government controls the organization. Controls the organization. So, for example, public hospitals aim at meeting the needs of society. So, focuses on providing essential services. Focus on providing essential services. Essential services. For example, you can talk of public schools. Non-profit organizations are categorized under the public sector. So we're talking about non-profit. It includes non-profit organizations funded by the state, meaning to say they do not aim for profit. It means they do not aim for profit. So that is that. You can talk of municipal services. Businesses in this sector are partly or wholly funded by tax money. So here we are saying government uses public tax to operate. That's what it means. Government uses public taxes to operate. Public taxes to operate. So that is that. You can talk of police services. That is that. So for them to operate, the government is going to use the public taxes. The motive is not to make profit, but offer services, like we have said. Their goal is helping people, not making money. You can talk of them maintaining the roads and stuff like that. So let us move on to the purpose of this sector. The purpose of public sector, after we have talked about it, it means that the public sector includes those industries that are controlled by government. We have said it that the government controls the organization. Offer affordable services that the private sector offers. So they make it easy for their services to be accessed. So they achieve, it aims to meet the needs of society. That is their primary purpose. Public sector business do not aim to make profit. So that is not their primary objective. So their bottom line is not to make profit, but is to provide the services to the society. Provides people with job opportunities, improves the general standard of living of all people, controls pollution and protects and conserves natural resources such as water, wildlife, and precious stones. It also ensures that it also ensures wealth of the country spread equally among the rich as well as the poor. So they try by all means to make sure that they close that gap of rich and poor. Offers valuable services such as public roads, public hospitals, public schools. So that is that. So now we come to the meaning of the private sector. So now we come to private sector. So here we are on private sector, the meaning of private sector. So there's a privately owned by entrepreneurs, not owned by government, not owned by government. For example, we can talk of Mr. Price. Shop is not owned by government, aimed at meeting both the need and wants of the society. So it means they sell goods and services consumers desire. They sell goods or services consumers desire. So that is that. You can talk about, for example, clothing stores. They are profit-driven businesses. So that is the bottom line. Is to make what? Profit. That is that. Their goal is to earn money. Their goal is to earn money. So their goal is to earn money. You can talk of restaurants, businesses. Their goal is to make money. Owners provide own funds or loans to run their business. So owners fund the business themselves. So they use their own money or loans to fund their business. Examples include businesses owned privately, a sole traders partnership, companies with a profit motive. So many ownership forms exist. The businesses are focused to meet the demand of consumers. So their forecast is to meet the demand of consumers. Business in this sector operate to make profit on non-profit government, non-government organizations, and NPOs, non-profit organizations. Some services from the public sector are repeated in this sector, such as education, healthcare, and housing, and could be of better quality than the government service. So now we come to the purpose of the sector, the private sector, purpose of a private sector. They create job opportunities for different types of skills. So they meaning they come up with job opportunities. They provide business with the opportunity to create wealth. They offer competitive salaries than the public sector. You know, the private sector, they sometimes, or we can say they pay more than the public sector. Offers more variety of goods and services than public sector. So there is a variety of goods in this private sector. Offers opportunity for employees to be part of or to be part of more innovative projects with cutting edge infrastructure. So that's that. So now let us come to the difference now between public sector and private sector. Public sector and private sector. It says the aim is to meet the needs of the society, that is under public sector. So public sector, they focus on helping the whole community. That's what it means. They focus on helping the whole community. For example, you can talk of public transportation. It's for the whole community. State-owned and state-run of parastatals, which are operated by private company. So private sector meets the needs and wants. So it means that they provide extra goods and services of choice. Also, sorry, what I wanted is to come to the private sector. Aim is to meet both need and wants of the society. That is the private sector. So meaning to say, they provide extra goods and services for choice. For example, we can talk of private gyms. But back coming again to public sector, state-owned and state-run of parastatals, which are operated by a private company. So public sector is the state-owned. So government controls operations. That is that. So this one, private sector is privately owned by entrepreneurs. Private sector is privately owned, and it means that individuals or companies run the business. So talk of Woolworths, it's run by their entrepreneurs, or it's privately owned business. It's partly or wholly funded by tax money. So government uses collected tax. That is that. Here, owners here in under private sector, owners raise capital to fund their business. So public sector, private sector funded by the owners, investors or owners provide money. The motive under the public sector is to provide service. So public sector provides services. So focus is service, not profit. We have said it. Here we know the motive is what? Is a profit. Under a private sector, the aim in this sector is to make profit. Those are money making. So that is a money making. That is the main goal. And again, state-owned business report to the government that they're under public sector. Business in this sector do not report to government but owners. So government monitors and oversees their performance. Here owners oversees their performance. So that is the end of the this presentation, and that is the end of chapter 5. And as we know that this is the end of term 1 under business studies, grade 10. So that is the end of the presentation. That is the last chapter of term 1 under business studies, grade 10. Thank you very much for your time, and make sure that you are going to share with others. Please don't forget to hit the subscription button. I thank you.